Steve Hughes,
Hello.
I saw you a couple of weeks ago at the Jam for Freedom.
Okay.
Really enjoyed your sort of performance there. So here we are in Glastonbury with Clive de Carle. So what I'd like to know is how you two linked up and how you're working together. And well, start with that.
Well, I was dealing with some issues, and strangely enough, I found out that Clive's assistant was trying to get hold of me about a year ago, which would have been handy for I needed assistance. We could have got on some good supplements then, you know what I mean? But then I was over here, she sent a message to my Australian agent, and somehow I didn't get the email, and it was all a bit of a mess up, so then I ended up eventually getting in contact with her, and then she put me in contact with Clive, and we stayed at Clive's for a few weeks while we were sorting some stuff out. And then I suggested maybe we could do a show together, so you could go on in this time that we're going through on planet Earth.
Crazy times, aren't they? Don't need to tell you that, but
Crazy times. So I thought maybe we could get together. It seems to be people are taking more responsibility for their own health these days.
Yeah.
Which is something I should have done.
Yeah, it's something
I thought I was. I wasn't going that bad, but something went wrong. And then I said maybe we could do a talk. You could come out.
Brilliant.
Clive
Okay.
could do a talk about stuff, and I could go on the end and do some comedy.
So is that the format? Clive's going to be talking to start with, and then maybe two talking together?
Well, this is the first one we've ever done, so I don't know, maybe I'll just come on and introduce Clive and explain to the people how we put this idea together like we are here, and then he can come on, do his talk, and then I'll come on and do a show, and whether or not we talk together at the end, that could be interesting. It could be, this is the first one, so
yeah.
we're running on who knows at the moment. So
yeah, it's pretty much an open thing, really.
Yeah. We thought it'd be something different. So
yeah. I'm looking forward to it. So it should be a good show. So, any other thoughts that you'd like to add in these crazy times?
Oh, God, it's getting so confusing.
It does your head in, doesn't it? Yeah. Oh. It really does.
It's made to do your head in.
It is, isn't it? Yeah. But I think what you're doing, laughter is the best medicine, really, and you just have to laugh at it. And whenever you hear the next bit of craziness, just mock it. Really, that's
Somehow, I'm starting to come to terms with. Funnily enough, I've been hanging out with guys who go to church.
Oh, okay.
Of all the things I've investigated in my life, I never thought to investigate Christ.
Yeah.
Because we got brought up with it being either too authoritarian or they're all just people in cardigans that sing Kumbaya and dance around. And then, so I met these two guys, and then they introduced me to some of it. So I went along with them, and I realised that. It's a lot deeper.
There's a lot of people doing that, isn't there? I know they say it's a spiritual war, and a lot of people.
You know what? It's funny because I was talking to Clive on the way down, and if you think about it, it's a great. Western countries were predominantly Christian, weren't they? Right? Different denominations, of course. Not everybody's always got along. And Christians talk about no judgment, but some of them still do, you know. But having these countries introduced to what everything like, and here we are in Glastonbury, home of the crystal chakra, singing bowl, dreadlock, dance around. But I started to think to myself, see, if the country's under one denomination, I think this is another divide and conquer strategy to introduce. What did the Beatles do? Oh, we're off to India to hang out with all these guys and do all this stuff. And because the 60s is a real time of all that hippies things, get into the Beatles doing this, drugs, rock and roll, so forth. This is when sort of like I'm born, you know. And that precipice of the 50s were very different to the 60s. It was that strange time when now we fell into this. And so I started to think, well, See, if you've got a country that's under one denomination, be it they would have differences and so forth, but there's a strength there.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And also, Christians have a staunch belief in Christ and the afterlife and being eternal. So it's hard to scare an army of people who aren't particularly petrified of physical death.
Yeah.
Not that they're all Christians are not petrified of it, like that, but
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that was kind of the original selling point, for want of a better word, for Christianity. That's why the Romans ended up converting over to it, because all of their gods, it was sort of you die and then you go to somewhere horrible, really. But here Christianity was saying, no, you're going to go to a fantastic place, and people think,
or you could go to another place.
Yeah.
But I think that's like, well, I don't think. We've just been sold. And as you said, what do they say? It's not just a war of flesh. They say it's a war between spiritual and this seems to be what's going on, doesn't it?
It does. Spiritual war. I've heard that.
Everything's inverted. Everything that's natural and normal is now, if you support natural things, like your immune system, you're a nutcase.
Yeah.
It's like, so we're in this, it's almost like, it's like satanic. It's in like this inverted, every kind of perversity in that is becoming, and I grew up around heavy metal with guys singing about Satan and this and chaos and what, but it was all underground. The mainstream didn't accept this. But now the mainstream pop bands are more overtly satanic than anything I've ever seen. On the opening of the Commonwealth Games, at these big weird rituals with slaves and bulls and things. I'm like, now it's just out there, mainstream.
Exactly, yes.
Lady Gaga wants to dress in meat and come on and go, rah, 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 and these chicks going, and flat. It's like, this is the stuff that used to be alternative, underground. You could do it, it wasn't illegal, but it was over there. The mainstream shunned it and had a certain morality about them, you know what I mean? A sort of civility to the way society should behave,
So why do you think it's flipped like that?
Well, I think they've just introduced it, haven't they? I grew up in that era. What I can tell from rock and roll, where you kind of thought that the conservative Christian idea was boring and that it was just oppressive, and of course there's elements to it that were. They're human beings. People don't get everything right. But now with this kind of anything goes and everything should be accepted, and hey, I just be myself and we can do this, and it all sounds well and good. But there's certain things that need to be obeyed to keep human beings in line. Why? Because they have a dark side, and if that dark side's unleashed, then dark forces come in and go, right, let's run amok. You have to keep them at bay. So, as I said, I've been hanging around these Christian guys and listen to some of their stuff. And started to go, because it's not as lightweight as I thought. It's hard work. You know what I mean? And it's not just about cups of tea and cake and kumbaya and cardigans and off we go to heaven or hell. It's not. If you listen to people like Thomas Keating, see, that's really evolved Christianity. Yeah. That could be like anything in the non-dual realm of what, like Buddhists will talk about, which is the breakdown of the false self, which is the collapse of the egoic mind. And not all Christians are into that, not all of them at all. That's because most people don't get to that place. That's a Christ-like, Buddha-like status. Some people reach it, but it's no joke. Yeah, right.
No, it is.
Yeah, right. Why? All your internal personality, egoic structure needs to collapse. Yeah. That won't be a walk in the park.
No, it's hard work, but anything worthwhile is.
But if you could make that one, I don't know if I could. It'd be tough. Yeah. That's the ultimate understanding of. It's almost like where Eckhart Tolle comes from, whether or not he's real or not. But I know, I've read enough books and stuff to know where they're talking about. Where they're not thinking dualistically. They're functioning as what? Like this is what non-dualism is, isn't it? In the sense of the real self is eternal, and the false physical self, which manifests here, becomes subjective objective, which creates a... But that dualism is also part of the singularity.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a... But to break that down to truly meet God, it's no walk in the park.
So you're going to
takes more than kumbaya.
So it's something you're going to be working on.
Well, I haven't looked at this for a long time now, so one of the things I've learned is a bit of humility and what maybe I should shut my mouth on a few things. Especially with my job, running around.
Yeah, but then you're entering the realms of self-censorship in a way.
Well, not self-censorship, just I've started to learn a bit of humility, in the sense of maybe you don't rabbit on about things you don't fully understand yet.
Yeah, there's a lot of truth in that, isn't there?
Sit there and tell everybody, hey, you know what? Hang on, Steve. You haven't got enough experience.
No, that's it. So, what else have you got planned for the future?
I don't know. I'm still dealing with some stuff, so I'm going through a bit of a process myself.
Right, okay.
At the moment, so it's hard to get things. It's hard with my job to go, yeah, let's do that then, because I don't know if I'm going to be up for it for some of the... I've decided to tackle some of my own issues. I mean, there's another guy called David R. Hawkins who wrote many books. His first one being Power versus Force, and he had a great simple. He was like these guys. This is a full awakened kind of guy. He goes, many people say to me, "What can I do to help the world?" He goes, "Get out of the way." Why? Because you're coming at it from the personality egoic self, from the mind that thinks it can dream up constructs and structures on what it can do, but there's a greater force at work.
Yeah. That's a good lesson, isn't it?
Get out of the way. Do what? Work on yourself. Why? Because if there's an inner transformation.
Yeah, very, very true. And where would you even start? I've got...
You can start, I don't know, you can start... They also say, what did they say? What was the philosopher? Know thyself. Socrates or something? I guess that's it, isn't it? Try and work out what and who you are, your strengths, your weaknesses. We all wear masks. It's funny they put masks on people, right? Because it's another interesting thing, because we kind of do, we do wear masks ourselves, you know, trying to fit in or do this or do that. Or, you know, you can look at simple psychology. There's people pleasers, there's narcissists, there's this, there's so forth. What's that? Well, masks. Masks to make yourself function from your traumatised state into a social situation that'll keep you away from inner pain and outer ridicule.
So, any closing thoughts that you might have?
I think that was enough, really.
Well, yeah, that's very true, yeah. Well, thank you very much for your time, Steve. Pleasure sort of talking to you.
No worries.